If you enjoy what you hear here today, please consider supporting me on my Patreon page. Every dollar helps, and you get to see content that you won't see here. Chapter 32. Return to Canterlot. Ponyville, Golden Oaks Library. Pinky, stop it. Now!
All I'm saying is that if we built a giant fly zapper, we could easily beat the Empress!
The 4 ponies and 1 dragon had recently received a scroll from Princess Celestia, saying she had received word from the Equestrian Hive. She was vague on the details, but she had mentioned that Shining Armor and the others had all but confirmed the one behind everything was a changeling previously thought to be a mere legend. Spike groaned. Ugh. 1, she's not a fly. 2, no, it wouldn't. She's an ancient being equally powerful to the princesses and with an army at her back. 3, how would you even go about doing that? You know what? Forget I asked. I don't want to know. Pinky rolled her eyes.
Please! You're just jealous you didn't think of it first. Besides, we've done this kind of shtick before. Ancient evils coming back does seem to be our thing, Rainbow Dash commented, though the fly zapper might be a bit far-fetched.
And if Rainbow Dash thinks something is far-fetched, it's far-fetched, Applejack jabbed.
Hey!
Pinkie Pie huffed in annoyance.
Okay, it was just an idea. Yeesh. You could just have Fluttershy use the stair,
Rainbow casually suggested.
Oh, I really don't like using that unless I, have to,
Fluttershy stated.
And a world-ending force doesn't count? Well, she is hurting innocent changelings, and that does make me a little mad.
Fluttershy sighed.
Point taken.
There's little point in making plans like this, Spike rebuffed. I gathered you all to tell you what the princess said, nothing more.
We know who's behind it now,
Rainbow Dash pressed. So what? How do any of you plan on getting to her? Silence gave him the answer he already knew was coming. Thought as much. Really, this doesn't change anything. Reluctantly, I agree with Spike, Applejack stated. We can't go in like a blind dog in an apple orchard. It ain't at all practical. Thank you, Applejack, Spike said to the apple farmer. You know I hate this as much as the rest of you, but the last thing Equestrian needs is the rest of the element bears captured or dead. Without Twilight, we're just kind of useless.
We were always at our best together,
Fluttershy pointed out.
All 6 of us girls.
Well, you're a dragon, Rainbow stated, pointing at Spike.
Can't you do something?
Maybe, with a good plan of action that I don't have.
So we're stuck waiting again?
Keep talking like that and the trouble will come to us, Applejack dryly stated. I'm sure the princess will make up a plan now she knows what she's up against, Spike said, though his hope appeared to be a little strained. She has to. An urgent knock on the door caught their attention, all of the library's occupants whirling around to face it. After a few shared glances, Applejack moved forwards to open the doorway. On the doorstep was a rather nervous-looking gray Pegasus with a bag full of mail around her neck.
Hi, Applejack,
Derpy greeted half-heartedly.
I'm not, interrupting or anything?
No, not at all, Applejack assured. Girl, you look like a mess. What's up?
I was just on my rounds and, well, I saw some changelings come walking into town,
she explained. Canterlot Castle. Celestia read the brief message that Shining Armor had sent her for the 100th time. Anything to pass the time while waiting for them to arrive back in the capital. She and her sister were in the war room once more, but only they. They had both been silent since the letter had arrived, and the second been sent to Spike, contemplating the revelation.
The Empress,
Luna finally spoke, humming to herself.
Did they not give any good amount of detail? You still haven't let me read it.
Celestia said nothing, simply passing over the parchment to her little sister. Princess Celestia, the Equestrian Hive is compromised. Survivors have been found. All changelings, no ponies alive. Confirmed mastermind is so-called Empress of the Changelings. Ancient legend come to life. Returning to Canterlot, we'll explain more on arrival. Signed, Prince Shining Armor.
Huh, it is indeed brief,
Luna commented.
How does a changeling queen get the title of Empress? I've never heard of that until now.
Celestia snorted.
Self-appointed, I would imagine. Arrogant and vain, along with a deep superiority complex. She could be a naturally higher form of changeling we've yet to encounter,
Luna theorized.
She could just as easily be another queen with a bit of dark magic behind her. We won't know unless we make her acquaintance,
Luna pointed out.
But her mind must be advanced, or at the very least the part of her mind controlling the hive. No one changeling queen could normally take on each and every single hive into her mind, according to Twilight at least. You are correct, sister. Twilight researched it extensively, along with anything else she could get her hooves on in the early days. I am aware of her hobbies,
Luna remarked.
She must have known about this legend. I imagine she did. She may have even suspected,
Celestia agreed.
We'll have to ask the changeling Shining Armor recovered. If she was relegated to legend, something must have stopped her all that time ago. An elder sister, perhaps?
Luna joked.
Don't,
Celestia scolded.
Not now. If I can joke on my own mistakes, you two can afford at least a chuckle, Tia.
Celestia didn't answer, instead just moving on.
Either way, if the legend details how she was defeated, we could repeat the process. Maybe even improve upon it and finish the Empress forever. Not looking for a peaceful solution? No. You have always been an optimist, Celestia. This is most unlike you. Maybe you just haven't seen everything about me. I have, in your dreams,
Luna rebuffed.
I've seen some of your fears, your nightmares. You fear the fire in you. I don't know what you're talking about. You know exactly who I'm talking about,
Luna stressed.
If you need to talk, I'm fine. No, you're not. You haven't been fine since you lost Twilight. I haven't lost her yet,
Celestia snapped.
But the pain is still so very real,
Luna argued.
And I'm afraid for you. Darkness is your burden, Luna, not mine.
Luna flinched, hurt evident on her face.
It's not the darkness you should fear, but your own light. Must you press this constantly? I will keep pressing it until you get what I'm trying to tell you through your stupid, stubborn, and abnormally thick skull.
Celestia huffed.
Why must little sisters be so irritating? And why must big sisters be so resistant to the help from the younger? I'm just tired of having this conversation, Luna. When this is over and Twilight is back, then we can talk for as long as you wish about this. But until then, just stop.
Luna was about to retort, but was interrupted by an expected arrival. Mere minutes earlier.
Never met the princess before,
Facade commented as he and the others walked down the castle hallways.
This should be interesting.
Just be careful. Princess Celestia really hasn't been in a great mood as of late. Shining Armor warned. Who can blame her? Facade stated. Their bond must be the worst-kept secret in all of Equestria. I wouldn't call it a secret, Vladimir added in. Private, but not secret. Facade shrugged. Still, I get it. We all do, Broadsword said. I'd go mad if it was Valiant. Valiant? My son. Facade nodded in understanding. I see. I didn't know you were a parent. We just met, Broadsword pointed out. Point well taken. It'd be the same if it was Juvenis, Carta spoke up. Being a parent comes with a lot of responsibilities and feelings. There isn't a family more complicated than ours, Shining muttered. Not that I've met, at least. Alicorns, changelings, even a dragon. Well, his biological great-aunt tried to invade Equestria for Celestia's sake. I am aware, though I wasn't in attendance. I was just 15, after all. You're 23? Yeah. Joined the Guard the moment I turned 18. It was my brother who kinda inspired that career choice. He was in the Guard too? Yeah. Mother and father both work in agriculture. They're with the Empress right now. I'm sorry, Shining Armor said kindly. Brother too? No. He died at Ponyville. Oh. This whole thing sucks, Juvenis moaned. You can say that again, kid. How have you been, Shining Armor? Cardus inquired. You've heard us go on about the hive mind being torn away and all that, but what about you? She is your sister. I'm holding. If I can get her back, I have something to strive for. What about your parents? Panacea asked. My mother got drunk with Celestia, Shining remarked. They had fun, according to Princess Luna. I thought you said Celestia wasn't holding up all that well. She isn't. It's gotten worse since then. Oh. And your father? He hasn't spoken with me too much. I can imagine it's more of the same, though. If a bit more on the inside than out. Being strong for Velvet, I would imagine, Vladimir stated. It's what I'd do, Facade added in. Vladimir rolled his eyes. Good for you. You're trying to be the model guard. I wish. I can't shapeshift worth a shit. So, you're a changeling that can't change? Facade blushed a little. Not very well, no. I got a doorway most days, not much else. Speaking of, Shining Armor said, nodding towards the two guards outside the war room they were approaching. We're here. The two solar guards saluted as the group approached, the prince setting them at ease a moment later. Shining inquired as to whether or not the princesses were inside, though apparently his wife had yet to turn up. Thanking the two, he opened the doorway up and led his entourage inside. He immediately noted that he seemed to be interrupting yet another argument, but chose not to comment upon it. Princess Celestia? Princess Luna? He greeted. Prince Shining Armor, Luna greeted in turn, though it was painfully obvious she'd run out of patience. Please, all of you, come in. The ponies took seats around the table as told. The changelings hesitated momentarily before also doing as requested. Celestia and Luna held Facade in an inquisitive eye, never having met that particular changeling previously, unlike the others. Once all were sat, Luna spoke again. Former Captain Cardus of the Changeling Royal Guard, isn't it? She inquired, getting a nod of confirmation. It has been a long time. 8 years. Not since all that business with Crudelis, Cardus said. You know my family? Vaguely, but yes, Luna replied. Panacea and you, Venice? That's us. Uvenus chirped up casually.
I was a squirt back then, though. Uvenus?
Panacea scolded her daughter's casual tone towards the princess of Equestria.
It's fine,
Luna assured.
We want you to feel comfortable after everything you've been through. But I do not remember you.
Celestia finally spoke up, gesturing towards the drone in red armor. My name is Facade. I was a part of Twilight Sparkle's hive, only briefly.
Red is the color of Queen Draco. My condolences.
I never knew the Queen personally, Facade stated. But thank you.
Not just for the Queen, but all the others you must have lost to this Empress. Very few of her drones still have free will.
All changelings are in the same boat now, Your Highness. And some ponies, he stated sympathetically, it obviously being more directed towards the Princess of the Sun.
We were hoping to hear more about this Empress,
Celestia said.
Her weaknesses?
Cardus and Facade shared a glance, the former speaking up. I'm afraid the legend doesn't go into all that much detail.
I would still very much like to hear it. Don't forget about me,
Cadence stated, making her arrival known.
Sorry I'm late. Had to shake some clingy nobles.
Cadence moved to sit down next to her husband, giving the unicorn a light nuzzle as she did so. Shining, in turn, nuzzled back.
Are you all right?
She asked him. I'm fine. Nothing bad stuck around the hive. Just these four and a whole lot of metaphorical ghosts. Glad to see you two are still on speaking terms, Vladimir quipped.
Just a bit of pent-up frustration,
Cadence assured.
Water under the bridge, as they say.
Does this mean I can come off the couch now? Shining joked, earning a deadpan glance from his wife.
If you would please concentrate,
Celestia interrupted, her frustration painfully apparent.
The legend. Now.
The ponies and changelings all shared looks of concern, but didn't argue with the princess. Cardus and Facade took the lead, each taking turns to explain parts of the story and even how some of it had changed down the years. Facade, in the latter respect, was surprisingly knowledgeable. When they finished, Celestia sighed.
I see.
The legends weren't nearly as detailed as she had hoped they would be.
So let me get this straight. She existed before even my mother's time, and once ruled a large empire before recorded history. She was then defeated by another unknown changeling queen, who went on to establish the Queen's Council.
Pretty much, Cardus confirmed. Obviously this queen also buried her regalia in the far north, the one Queen Draco found. And Twilight took it home. It appeared to be dead at the time, but it's possible the regalia was still manipulating her, or...
Or what?
Apparently there were reports fed to me that the Queen was almost placed under the Empress's control by Draco. Yes, that's right, Broadsword stated. When we got there, though, Draco had already ended it. Yes, well, it's possible she might have been partially successful, that the Empress herself had already gotten just enough of a presence in the hive mind to post suggestions to Twilight.
I had thought as much,
Celestia remarked.
If only I had sooner.
Then, a green flash caught their attention as a scroll impacted the table with a light thud. All eyes moved towards it, and several of them could easily recognize who it must have been from. A letter from Spike? Cardus inquired. Celestia wasted no time in picking up the scroll and opening it up, reading the contents aloud.
Princess Celestia, several changelings from our home have turned up seeking shelter. More survivors! Panacea exclaimed. We weren't the only ones. There's more.
Celestia silenced the changeling mare, continuing to read afterwards.
But they're scared. They saw that they only just made it out, and now that they are being pursued. On top of that, one of the weather patrols hasn't reported in, and no pony can find them. It can't be a coincidence. I think their pursuers are close.
Celestia finished off by reading out the signature at the bottom, and then silence claimed the table. The news was grave. More survivors should have been cause for some small amount of joy. But if they were pursued, then that could only mean one thing.
Deploy a contingent of EUP to Ponyville at once!
Celestia commanded the captains.
Ponyville is about to be attacked.